Today's subject is biology, and I will be treating the topic respiratory system with you. My name is Adshafe Abdul Haq. First, the topic outlines. There is going to be 6 outlines for today's class, and the first outline is respiratory system, followed by the principle of respiratory system. Also, the features of the respiratory system. I'll be talking about the parts of the respiratory system, then the respiratory tract, and to cap it off, the last outline for today's class will be the functions of the respiratory system. Now, the class objectives. At the end of today's class, you all should be able to know what respiratory system is, know the features of the respiratory system, parts of the respiratory system, and know the functions of the respiratory system. Now to the topic proper. What is respiratory system? The respiratory system consists of the set of organs and tissues involved in the uptake of oxygen from the atmosphere and the release of carbon dioxide generated during aerobic respiration. Furthermore, when we breathe, we inhale oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide. The so-called exchange of gases is necessary for metabolic activities and can be considered a chemical process. Now moving forward to the principle of respiratory system. How does respiratory system work? What is the respiratory system? How does it work? Principle does it work on? The respiratory system begins in the nose and continues into the pharynx and larynx. The human respiratory system consists of a group of organs and tissues that helps us to breathe. Lungs are the primary organs of the respiratory system which help in the exchange of gases. The other main part of this system includes a series of airways for air passages, blood vessels, and the muscles that facilitate breathing. Now the features of the respiratory system. I'll be discussing 3 features of the respiratory system with us in today's class. The first feature I'll be talking about is the energy is generated by the breakdown of glucose molecules in all living cells of the human body. And the second feature I'll be talking about is that oxygen is inhaled and it is transported to various parts of the body and are used in the process of burning food particles. That is breaking down of glucose molecules at the cellular level in a series of chemical reactions. The third and last feature I'll be mentioning today is that the obtained glucose molecules are used for discharging energy in the form of ATP, adenosine triphosphate molecules, by the human body to fulfill essential life processes. Now we'll be talking about the parts of the respiratory system. I'll be discussing 6 parts of the respiratory system with us in the class today. The first part I'll be discussing with us is the nose. The nose possesses a couple of exterior nostrils which are divided by a framework of cartilaginous structure termed as the septum. This is a structure that evenly separates the nostrils from the right nostril from the left nostril. That is referred to as the septum. The second part is the larynx. The larynx is made up of 2 cartilaginous cords lay the framework for the larynx. They are situated at the point of joining the pharynx and the trachea. It is also termed as the Adam's apple. When we check our neck, we will see something pointed there, most especially for guys, so it is referred to as the Adam's apple. Or the voice box. It is the portion which rises and falls during swallowing of food particles. It generates sounds as air passes through the hollow in the middle. Now the pharynx. The pharynx functions by preventing the entry of food particles into the windpipe. The nasal chambers open up into a wide hollow space termed as the pharynx. It is a common path for both air and food. Now, the fourth part of the respiratory system I'll be talking about is the trachea. The walls of the trachea comprise a C-shaped cartilaginous ring, which gives hardness to the trachea and maintain it by completely expanding. The trachea extends further down into the breastbone and split into two bronchi, one for each lung. Also, the bronchi. The trachea split into two tubes termed as bronchi, which enter each lung individually. The bronchi are divided into secondary, tertiary, and to bronchioles, which is again further divided into small air sacs called the alveoli. That's the illustration. That's what the bronchi looks like. And the last part of the respiratory system I will be talking about today is the lungs. The lungs are the pair of large spongy organs, mainly involved in exchange of gases between the blood and the air. Lungs are the chief centers of the respiration in humans and other vertebrates. They are located in the thoracic cavity of the chest, near the backbone and on either side of the heart. Now we'll be moving forward to the term respiratory tract. The respiratory tract in humans is made up of the following parts. I'll be mentioning 9 parts that the respiratory tract is made up of. We have the external nostrils for the intake of air, the nasal chamber, which is lined with air and mucus to filter the air and remove dust and dirt. The pharynx, it is a passage behind the nasal chamber and serves as the common passageway for both air and food. The larynx, also known as the sound box, as it helps in the generation of sound and does help us in communicating as that is talking. Epiglottis, it is a flap-like structure that covers the glottis and prevents the entry of fluid into the windpipe. The bronchi. The bronchi is the subdivision of the trachea. That is, the trachea is divided into the left and the right bronchi. And we have the bronchioles. Each bronchus is further divided into finer channels known as the bronchioles. Also, the alveoli. The bronchioles end up into the balloon-like structures known as the alveoli. And the last part of the respiratory tract I'm talking about today is the lungs. Which the lungs have a pair of, we have a pair of lungs, all human vertebrates have a pair of lungs, which are sac-like structures and covered by a double-layered membrane known as a pleura. Similarly, the air that we inhale has the following compositions: 78% of nitrogen, 21% of oxygen, and 0.03 to 0.04% of carbon dioxide, and also traces of hydrogen and noble gases. Now to the functions of the respiratory system. We're talking about 5 functions of the respiratory system in today's class. The first, inhalation and exhalation. As the name implies, the respiratory system helps in breathing, known as pulmonary ventilation. The second function, exchange of gases between lungs and bloodstream. Inside the lungs, the oxygen is exchanged for carbon dioxide waste through millions of microscopic sacs called the alveoli. The third function, exchange of gases between bloodstream and body tissues. The blood carries the oxygen from the lungs around the body and releases the oxygen when it reaches the capillaries. The fourth function I'll be talking about is the vibration of the vocal cords. While speaking, the muscles in the larynx move the arytenoid cartilage. These cartilages push the vocal cords together during exhalation. When the air passes through the vocal cords, it makes them vibrate and create sound. And the last function I'll be talking about today is smelling. During inhalation, when the air enters the nasal cavities, some chemicals present in the air bind to it and activate the receptors of the nervous system on the cilia. The signals are sent to the olfactory bulbs via the brain. Now to the assignments for today's class. I'll be giving you 3 questions to make up the assignment for today's class. The first question is, what is the human respiratory system? Question number 2, what are the important respiratory system parts in humans? And the last question to make up the assignment for today's class is what is the respiratory tract made up of? Assignments are to be submitted online through the email training@educom.ng. Thank you.